I'm trying to share it. I have the most trouble. Trying to share it.
Hey man, was y'all able to hear it?
Nah.
Okay. All right. So
I couldn't hear you.
okay. Yeah. Next time, what we'll do in the back end. Hey y'all, live. We live. But next time, what I'll do is play the video first just to make sure y'all can hear it, and then we'll go from there, man. But yo, I don't know about you, Reg. If Fred, like when I just listened to that video or watched the video because I can hear it on my end. Like I just got this whole new wave of excitement. I hope y'all have looked at the videos that y'all have had that I sent over to y'all, and I hope that y'all experience the same thing, the same wave of excitement around this topic. And I won't even lie to you, Reggie and Fred. I Googled this subject last night because I was curious how many people are having conversations about this and how many, currently and then in the past, how many have had conversations about it. And I couldn't find any. I couldn't find that one like broadcast, YouTube clip, Vimeo clip where people were having this distinct conversation about, am I worthy of her submission? Right. I don't know about y'all. Like that just excites me even more. The fact that I couldn't find nobody who's done this before.
It's a different point of view, man. It's not the typical male perspective. We don't want to give up control. A lot of times, we don't want to earn it, and we want to try to manipulate our way into it. We like to point to the Bible. This is what we talked about this the last episode. Is what's been done since time immemorial is for guys to take the infallible word of God or find some authority that we can use to enhance their position. That way you relieve yourself of accountability by saying, hey, it says right here, I'm supposed to be the man. I'm supposed to wear the pants. So that leaves room for no argument, and we've approached this from a very different perspective. And I think in so doing, we've invited women to actually listen and pay attention and realize there are dudes out there who want to earn the right to wear the pants, so to speak, or earn the right to be a leader in the household. And I'm equally excited.
Yeah, I love that, Fred. And Jason, I definitely agree that it's pretty exciting that this topic is rarely spoken about in this way, and that's what I think it really is like You know, a lot of times we hear about the rule and the Bible verse, but this topic puts it on the man and the responsibility on the man to really self-check himself of like the question poses, am I worthy? It's not just a given position. And that's something that I've learned a lot in leadership is that true leadership isn't about title.
Mm.
It's not just about the title. It's like, are you qualified for people to follow you? Are you capable? Do you show the characteristics? It's not just about, because when you have people that's why a lot of people hate their bosses, because they're following them not out of respect, but it's because, yeah, they just have the title. Yeah, they're my supervisor. I don't actually respect their capabilities. They haven't shown the qualities for me to actually follow them and trust their expertise. I'm just following them because they have the title. So
Mm-hmm.
this question of am I worthy now self-checks me to see, okay, am I providing not just even just from a financial standpoint, but am I keeping my word? Am I a man of, if I say I'm going to do something, I actually execute, right? And just showing the characteristics where it's like, I can just be trusted with the responsibility that it is to be a leader. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited just like you guys, man.
Yeah, yeah. Let me set the stage again.
Because
Those who
the
are joining
topic
us
is
for
slapping me up, honestly. It's
let
like,
me set the stage again. Those who are joining us for the first time for this series, you may have seen some additional series in the past before where we did a series on Black men raising daughters. We did a series prior to that on relationships. This is a very intentional series entitled "Am I Worthy of Her Submission?" And many of you are familiar if you do attend church, if Christianity or Judaism, or I would even go as far as to say if you're Muslim. I think it crosses over where the respect level from a man in a relationship from a woman is I submit to you. And then even Reggie and Fred, outside of the confines of religion, I think that our culture, not this new generation, but the generation in which we came up in, I think the culture has been, we see women submitting to men. I saw that in my own home, right? My mom submitting to my father, my grandmother submitting to my grandfathers, right? And so this notion that we're tackling like head first is, are you even worthy of the submission that you're asking for? Because nobody has asked that question. So viewers, thank you that you're tuning in. If you're new, buckle your safety belts.
Jason,
We're going to be in for a bumpy ride these next few weeks. Reggie, go ahead.
I have a quick question before you hop into the first question, because I know you're about to dive right in. But a big part of this topic that literally just flashed into my mind was how you just said you watched your mom submit to your father. But a big part of this topic that I believe isn't discussed is people don't discuss the journey because, and not to say that this was the case in your household, but I've had other women tell me that they didn't submit to their husbands from day one, that it was a process that they had to learn, right, from the beginning, and that over time it may have been that he showed more capabilities and characteristics and showed himself worthy of, and that she also had to learn how to submit, how to almost like build a new muscle that she wasn't familiar with. So
Yeah.
maybe, you know, even with your mom and dad, of having that conversation of, mom, was that something that you did from day one because it's something that you observed or you read about? Or was it a process of learning how to trust, how to submit, or he had to step up in some areas where he might have been lacking, which allowed me to now relax and trust and submit as a woman and all those different things. So I think that's part of the process, you know what I'm saying, that we can, as males and females, can discuss more is what does that look like and what did it look like for newlyweds, you know, and their process.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Reggie. I'm glad you shared that. The journey is so important. I mean, I don't care what journey you're on. It doesn't have to be relationships, but all of us are on some trajectory of journey. And so, what does your journey look like, right? And so, to Reggie's point, is your journey to relationships? Did you know about submission prior to? What did you learn along the way? Fred and Reggie, you know, before the other guys join tonight, I really want us to really um, treat these topics through a very in a very granular sense. And when I say that, I mean Fred has just as much expertise as Reggie has just as much expertise as I do on a topic that I think we never really talked about before. Let's spend the time, the three of us, before the rest of the guys join in on sharing that space in discussion. Because I know one thing, our audience loves to hear the bravado from all of us, right? And I want to make sure that we're all kind enough to say, hey, man, I've been talking a little bit on this. Man, here's the baton. I need you to run with it for a little bit. I think we get the most out of each other's discussion because of that, and our audience loves that too. The first question tonight, and this kind of goes again, it goes right to the jugular, right? We're not even like prancing around the subject anymore. We're right to the jugular, and there may be some spiritual, connotations, and there may not be. I want to explore that, but why does he? Fred, you laughing? Why does he, Eric? Good to see you.
What up, man?
Get to be the authority, right? So before you jump in with either your medical lens, your coaching lens, your counseling lens, let's just address the fact that the reality is the world has made him the authority. That's just the way the world has made him, right? So the question is, why does he get to be the authority? Let's talk through that for a little bit. Okay, let's talk with you, man, and just let's go. I'm ready.
You said me.
Yeah, because I want you to start it off, man. I want you to remain cognizant. Like this is a team effort. We're gonna tackle this. We're gonna tackle this as a team.
You recall when you did have the decency to send us these questions earlier in the day. I was begging for them. Honestly, I was like, please give me an idea. And when you submitted this question, you will recall that my response was, damn. The first thing I think that needs to be fleshed out is, what does authority mean? What does that mean in a relationship? Because before you decide that you're going to be it, I think you need to define it, and I think it's going to vary from relationship to relationship. What leadership is required from relationship to relationship, and not to avoid the question, but to lay some ground rules and groundwork for which we can explore the question and try to decide on some reasonable answers to the question. The authority or the leadership capacity will vary based on how old the two participants are, depending on the nature and the makeup of the family. Is the gentleman who's supposed to be the leader, is he leading a 23-year-old, or is he leading a 33-year-old, or is he leading a 43 or 53-year-old? Is he leading from a developmental level of immaturity? Is he, the 24-year-old, married to a 27-year-old? Is he married to somebody who is more accomplished, more educated, a little bit more mature than start? But I'm glad somebody else has a dog. But what I'm trying to say is, if after that's established, and we'll talk about that more, I think it bears discussion. But after we get into that, I think the man is the default leader because he's the protector. The man is the bottom line, or at least he should be, in my opinion, in the relationship. He's the ultimate disciplinarian. He's the last line of defense when it comes to disciplining your kids, the children. He's the protector of your relationship from all predators, male, all who are potentially trying to undermine your relationship, and this is ideally, whether it's within your family. And when I say within your family, I mean starting with your children, because children will sort of adopt a divide and conquer stance at times in order to try to get what they want. We've all had the experience where, your child comes downstairs and said, can I have some cookies? And you say, yeah, go ahead and have the cookies. You're watching the game. And they say, you said I can have some cookies, right? and you go, wait a minute. You already asked your mama, didn't you? She said no. That's the divide and conquer. So you're the protector against that. You're the protector against prying neighbors, the protector against a mom who's overly involved in a relationship. And for gentlemen, not actually less than gentlemen who try to infringe on your relationship and may be interested in your wife.
Fred, I'm gonna pause you, Fred, because I want you to come with another reason. When we go back around, your first reason is because of the protector. Joining us, Fred shared that why does he get to be the authority? Partly because of the protector piece. Fred, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm gonna go around and I want to keep going around until we exhaust this thing. So let's be quick about it. Reggie, I want to say it in a different way. Reggie, why does he get to be the boss? Who made him the boss?
So, so we're going by what? Can you guys hear?
Yeah, you're going in and out a little bit, Reggie. Your wild.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can.
All right. Let me see if I can reconnect. Hold on.
Yeah, just he gonna reconnect. He gonna turn his Wi-Fi off. If you join us, man, on this question, so you get it too. I asked you the same one I just asked Fred. I just asked Reggie in a very I'm in your face now. Who made you the boss? Who made you the boss of me? Why do I have to submit to you?
Are you asking me that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And watch your cursing this early. We can do that towards the end.
No, I'm good, bro.
I know you hype. I know you hype.
I'm taking on a new leaf. I'm taking on a new leaf of a lower level of profanity. So I think that one of the things, I think that definitely Fred hit it on the head. I think that from a position of, just protection of the family when there was very little, I think that the male, being denser with his bone density, also the other stuff that goes along with it. I think that biologically we have just been a protector because we're built different. That's one thing. But when he says, you asked the question to Reggie, who made you the boss? I think one of the hardest things is so we're talking about primarily African-American relationships, or we're talking about just relationships in general.
We're all black men, so I don't know that we can look through another lens.
Right. So I'm glad you said that, bro, because I think one of the other things is I think that the black man and the black woman is still trying to define what it is to be an authority, because the system has been authority since the very beginning. So I think there's generational trauma that has to be explored before you can figure out what it is to be a leader. I know one of the things my son knows very well is that he walks on the outside of the road or the outside of the sidewalk when mommy's with him or his sister's with him, because he understands that his role is to be a protector of his family. Now, I believe that his sister could do some things that he can do, definitely. In addition to that, he has been the social construct of maleness, of manness, is something that I have embraced. Not a toxic masculinity, but about being a protector, destroyer, or creator. I mean, I have a book called The Protector, Destroyer, Creator. And that's a whole different thing we could talk about. It's about Buddhism, but I think that it is a contract with the woman who understands who her man is or understands the journey he's on that allows him to be the protector. I don't think he could ever be the boss of his woman, because if I got to be the boss, then that's if I'm the boss, then you do what I tell you because you're employed by me. I don't think that works. I think my partner, who is a protector, is probably a different way of saying that. My wife is very capable. I know she can do things. I stand next to her, she'll stand in front, or I'll stand in front, and it all depends on how it goes down. But also, I think that there's a contract that we have agreed upon, and that happened through communication. So I'm not the boss, but I have been chosen to be her protector. And I think she's worthy of that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Murph, you, Fred, protect the peace. so real. And I think that, Fred, we have made the protector piece to be honest to the leading authority. That because of my bone density, because of my bone structure, because of my muscles, because of my agility, my quickness, my twitch, right? Because when something comes on to attack the family, my cat-like prowess, I can handle it, right? In a very real way. And to your point, Murph, does that mean that a woman couldn't handle those things?
I'm saying
Absolutely.
that. I'm saying
You know
that. No, I think a woman can definitely handle that. I don't understand what it is to go through childbirth. I don't understand what it feels like to menstruate. I don't, the strength that my wife brings to the table. She popped a baby out, bro, like 2 of them. Like, that's crazy to me. She brings her pelvis opened up. I mean, that's bananas. But what I can do, I can pick up 300 pounds.
Right. And to rob women, I'm going to finish with this point. Go back around to rob a woman of the ability to co-create in a relationship. It has been so damaging, and I want to say, especially in the Black community, because you're right. We have to look at slavery. And when I did some research prior to us tackling this conversation in the Black community, the Black family during slavery, there was a sense of, I got your back, you got my back, from a man and a woman, from the husband and the wife, because you were placed in a situation where, in order to survive, you had to co-create.
That's right.
You had to be co-creators of that experience. And as soon as the proverbial shackles were released, because we're still in some form of slavery now, but even when the shackles were released in the physical sense, there seemed to be this breaking away of the man to want to subscribe to the things that the majority race was doing, patriarchy, right? The majority patriarchy. What was he doing? How was he running his family, right? I think the Black male kind of fell into that. Well, I want that. I want that too, right? And so we lost sense of, we were co-creators of this experience, to now being, I'm the authority and then you're the submissive, right?
Right.
But I think in the Black community we have struggled with that for a long time. But I think it takes brothers like us to be like, hold on, partner, bruh, you is not the full authority. You is not the one-stop shop, bro. It's gonna take you and your significant other to make this thing.
When you said that, Jay, it just made me think about something. I think I'm a coin a term. I think it might work. I think that we have toxic capitalism in our relationships, where I gotta win. I gotta be the big dude. I gotta be the cheese, and so to be the cheese, that means somebody gotta be my bread. You got to be less than me. And I just don't think, I think that you hit it right on the generational. Remember, man, the Black man was harmed, destroyed in front of the woman and the child, to let them know that you're not worthy. I will destroy your protector right in front of you. And I believe that what that did was it emasculated men, it emasculated the woman, and gave entitlement to the child. That's why we see a lot of times he's in the house, because the dude in the house don't know what it is to be a dude, because he's still trying to figure it out. And then the woman sometimes does not get grace for this man's journey, or you choose a man. Look, I had a young lady in my office today. She's 22. Her dude is 31. She asked me, hey, this dude, she said, this guy, Mr. Chubb, Mr. Eric, this dude is telling me that he's not good enough for me, that this and that. I said, because he's running game. I said, you the catch. Don't get it twisted. When you want him, you like, I love you, because you know what's happening behind closed doors. He is selling you fool's gold. And I think a lot of masculinity is fool's gold. It look buff, it look dope, but it's cringy and it's surfacey. It is not real. Hence why I got off Facebook, bro. I got off Facebook because I was doing stuff as a dad, and people were DMing me saying, oh man, you're such a good dad. Oh, I love what you do. And I was like, I tried to explain to him, I was not doing it for the clout. I was doing it because it was in my spirit. So I'm gonna get off here for a minute, because maybe it is ego driven and I'm gonna let go. Masculinity and this whole thing about authority is fool's gold a lot of times. It is about interdependence, and you letting me be, you supporting me and being your protector. Because I know that what you're going to provide me with is sanctuary.
Hey man, that's powerful, man. That fool's gold piece there is her. Hey, Fred, go ahead, chime back in, man. What?
We can stop now.
No. Either pick where Murph is, man, or touch on another piece other than the protector, because I think the three of us agreed, not that we have to agree, but the three of us agreed that there is this permeating protector piece that has positioned men to be the authority. Doesn't mean that it's right, but it means that through eons, that's the reason why we got here. Fred, you have another piece that you want to add?
Oh yeah, you guys have touched on just topic after topic after topic that we have to explore. We already established the whole idea of the man as a protector. And at the same time, you both went on to discuss the fact that I don't expect to be the sole protector of my relationship. I expect my wife to protect our relationship and our goals, our direction as well. Although I'll say this, while I think she'll do anything and sacrifice anything for our family and our future, I'm prepared to kill or die for her and my kids and our future. Bottom line, kill or die for my family, right? I don't want her to do that, right? I don't want her. I will gladly step up and be the one who does that. Now, you talked about a capitalistic type of boss or leadership style, right? That's born out of insecurity, right? That's born out of I have to win because self-esteem won't tolerate anything else, right? But I have sense enough to know I married my wife because of her strength, because of what she brings to our relationship and what she will provide for our future. I expect her wholeheartedly to do all of the things she's capable of in order to ensure future success of our family. Now, that doesn't mean I abdicate my leadership role in my family. It means, listen, if you're the captain of a ship, you don't steer the ship. You don't go down and work in the engine room. You take an interest in all of that stuff. You don't swab the deck. You don't do all that stuff. You don't run up the sails on the sailboat and all that kind of stuff. But you're an encourager of all the people who do those things, right? The people who are your first mate, your executive officer is in charge of certain things to make sure that your operation runs well, runs smoothly, and your mission is successful, right? When you give them freedom to do their job, you don't blame them for making mistakes. Likewise, in my household, my wife has skills and talents and knowledge that I don't possess. I'm glad of that. I don't expect her to complete me. I expect her to compliment me, right? And I don't begrudge her success. I also don't, my self-esteem, my own self-worth is not damaged because of what she knows and what she provides for our family. She's a blessing to me. Now, if I, say, Vicky, you have an idea, let's go with it. And if it doesn't pan out, I don't blame her for it. I'm still the leader. I still acquiesced to her desire. I still gave my okay. We don't make decisions, in a vacuum. We still make decisions together. You can lead. You don't have to drag people along to lead. You can lead from the back. You have to understand what it takes in your relationship to lead. You have to decide what's needed to lead your particular staff, your family. And then you encourage and you provide. Good leadership is almost invisible, right?
Oh, it is invisible, man. Say that again. It is invisible. It ain't almost.
And honestly, you can get
right. What about other things that are invisible, Fred? Like if you think about the people who have the most money in life, the people who have the most money,
get our people to make them rich.
Do they look like they have the most money?
No, they look like they shop at Walmart.
Right. This to your point, great leadership, bro, is invisible, man. Right.
And smart people surround themselves with people smarter than them. You know what I'm saying? You cannot be immature, self-conscious, and insecure, about your leadership. You still have to maintain self-confidence and a high level of self-esteem, because we cannot also, if you marry an intelligent woman, if your spouse is intelligent, I hope that everybody has found someone who not necessarily completes them, but complements them. If you have the right spouse, you can expect that person to be forgiving of your flaws, the flaws in your leadership, the flaws in your knowledge. The things that you don't do well, they should pick up that slack, right? And you should be blessed by that, by your other half. And we facetiously say our better half, but that should never be the case. You know what I mean? I want to hear about my spouse, but I would like to think that. What's up, young man? I would like to think that she thinks I'm as valuable as she is in our relationship, and that whatever decisions that she makes, whatever she brings to the table, whatever ideas she has, won't cripple me because she had an idea.
Yeah. Lita just used your point when she said that she said unity compliments. I put it right here on the screen, and I think that that's so true. And I think that the way we have been taught to be in relationships, and Eric, you and I, we wasn't raised by like the Huxtable lifestyle that Fred had. The lifestyle was a little different, but I love that lens because Fred brings a lens we don't have, right? And so it's important to be able to look at all the lenses on our show together. But I think in the lens that I saw growing up, it was very much a dictatorship, but to no fault of my father and to no fault of my mother, because that's all they both knew.
Yeah.
Now that we have knowledge about how things, as Lita put, how things should be complementary. Here's what I've learned in getting it wrong for so many times. Not getting it right. This is what I've learned from getting it wrong so many times. That unity and being co-designers in a relationship brings about a lens that I would have never had it just been mine. And I was able to see setbacks, pitfalls, obstacles, right, that I never saw before, because now we've come together and we have this vision of how things should be. And I got your back, you got my back. We both are supportive of one another, because I don't care what anybody says. When you're driving a long distance country, right? You're driving from DC to California. You want to be a man and you want to drive the entire way. At some point, you're going to fall asleep at the wheel and you ain't going to be able to see danger coming. But when you share that wheel, man, there's some things that your spouse, your significant other, your boo, your love thing's going to be able to see that you can't see, man. And why can't we do the same thing that we do, in driving? Why can't we put that into our relationship? And I think one of those things is pride. And I tell you, brothers, I've had pride for lots of years, man. But in this new season of my life, man, screw the pride thing. I'm throwing that out the back window.
Jay, you say something, and I think, for our listeners, I love talking with you, brothers, first and foremost. I just want to let y'all know that. But I think for our listeners who are trying to figure it out, I think one of the things that I would offer is, I think you have to look at what's been role model for you. I'm going to go back to that fool's gold thing. It could look real good. You know what I'm saying? It could look dope. Like, how many people I know that out front when they in church, whatever, they dress to the nines and they dope with it. But then behind closed doors, dad has got power. He doesn't have influence. He has power. So he talking crazy, checking people, you know what I'm saying? Giving you advice on something he don't have no idea about. I think that one of the hardest things for a man to understand through influence is to understand that they know nothing, and to be able to explore and be curious with their children and their partner. Because what they don't get is that vulnerability and intimacy, that is influence. And that influence creates an empowerment for the relationship, not for me. I disappear. Like the I disappear. My physical body's there, but the ego is not involved in that. This is about the interdependence that causes empowerment, and that only comes from being vulnerable and understanding that I do not know. How can we figure this out? And my partner brings tools to the table that I do not bring to the table, and we complement each other. But here's the challenge. What if the compliment is we both jacked up?
No.
We both broke. We both broke with it here. We broke in here.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
So it becomes cringy. Like, that's a word my kids told me now. It becomes cringy because it's surfacey. Jason Fresh, He gonna have on Balenciagos. I gotta have on Balenciagos. But behind closed doors, we both know we got them from the swap meet, and we talking crazy to each other. We living in the basement, but we got friends on our ride. So the poverty and power influence us, because the biggest thing is, we talk about this all the time. How many dudes who we've met have had that dude in their life? That dude, that man that they can say, yo, that brother was vulnerable. That brother right there, he wasn't playing around. Like, he had me. He made me think. We have dudes, a lot of our guys who watch the show, they've had men in their life who made them that made them feel threatened, that made them understand what it is to have control, what it made them feel. Their daddy was Big Pun. You know what I'm saying? Like Chris Rivers wrote that song, Fear the Crown, because he was talking about the fear of entitlement, the fear of power, the intoxication that goes along with that. And anymore, we talking about intoxicate a community and a world, a United States that's all about sedation, sedating themselves with power, sex, drugs, bull crap clothes, $800 for some Balenciaga shoes you can't run in. They look stupid as hell. You know, so it's become about the surface. Hence why we have so much angst. Hence why the anxiety is going up so high, because people know you're gonna get found out. Because behind you ain't shit.
You did so well that you can only escape for so long, though, man. You know, you can only escape for so long, and you can only disguise yourself with the trappings of success for so long. Just like any game, you know, game no game, man. And if you're a real baller, if you really got it going on, then you respect people for their character, and that's, I think, what's to be expected of women who want a real man, is that they respect you for your character, not necessarily that you're perfect or that you're even a perfect leader. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a perfect husband, no such thing as a perfect father, no such thing as a perfect leader.
Right.
Leaders know that. And that's why they rely on their staff.
But you know, but Fred, they looking for perfect performers.
That's not going to
happen.
That's not going to happen. And that's why you can't ignore red flags. You can't find somebody who understands that, you know, what's on your feet doesn't put food on the table. You know what I'm saying? If you Jordan or LeBron or whatever, it ain't the shoes. It's the work ethic.
It ain't the shoes.
It's the work ethic. So
yeah,
your wife, your spouse needs to know that you have character, that you have strong values, that you have a high level of self-esteem, that you have high level of self-confidence, because you're not going to make every decision properly. You're going to make mistakes. Life's going to throw some wrenches in the monkey. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to hurt. There's going to be some bumps and some bruises. The question is, what are you going to do then?
Yes.
Absolutely.
They understand that you're not going to fade and wilt, right? That you're going to be.
Hey, Fred, real quick, I want to shift to in the same theme of the question, and then Eric, I want you to jump in after Fred. So let's talk back about the Black community for a minute, because Eric brought it up. So in the Black community, you know, the research shows that more Black women are making way more money, have more degrees, more clout, more status, more pedigree than the men that they're in relationship with. And so those are the ones that I've been getting emails about related to this subject. So to really answer this question in somebody's living room who's watching right now, why does he get to be the authority? And I'm putting him through school. Why does he get to be the authority? And I'm paying his car note. Why does he get to be the authority? And I paid for the family vacation the last couple of years. Why does he get to be the authority, and I just closed on a house for our family?
Jason. Why you do that? Bruh, I get that question. That's Actually, you just raised my blood pressure about 30 millimeters of mercury, man. I'm already on the pills. But and I'm from Mississippi, so I'm not the race scholar, but I am in tune and in touch with what systemic racism has done to uh, Black folks in America and Black relationships, Black families, the prospects of successful Black relationships. That's a subject. You just opened up a subject that can be covered in this episode. Uh, why you should help. It's going to take an education of Black women on the socioeconomic travails of Black people in America, because we are not just fighting against normal obstacles. We don't share the same obstacles. I'll tell you that. We share the same obstacles of white people in America to be successful, and many more. We're facing obstacles that are put in front of us in order to separate us, in order to emasculate, minimize, and marginalize Black men, in order to weaken Black families. And Black women need to understand that. We don't need a handout. Black men don't need a handout, but we need support, and we do need understanding. And as soon as women understand that, there have been things. Affirmative action probably helped more white women than any minority. Secondarily, probably Asians and Asian women, and then Black women, and not necessarily Black men. There's still a concerted effort to marginalize and minimize Black men in America, make us unattractive, and weaken Black families, thereby weakening family structure, weakening and minimizing Black children and their direction and futures in America. White supremacy is you got me started, man, and I told you we don't have time for this, but you open up a can, and it's a legit question.
It's a loaded question, bro. I'm telling you, these are questions, man, that I'm being asked to present on our show. These are questions that women have had for a lot of years, and I believe since we've seen in the Black community a huge shift from there's more Black women who are in college right now than Black men. And here's the other thing: when you read the statistics, man, and they poll the question to Black women, who do you prefer? What race do you prefer? Men in relationships. Many Black women still today still prefer Black men, but just like any other race, we don't stand out more than any other race.
Right.
White women prefer white men in relationships. That's known. Asian women prefer Asian men in relationships. There's no race that prefers another race more than it prefers its own.
But Jay, it's still about what is a man though. When the image, look, bro, and I'm not gonna say anything about, because we got religious people, and I don't ever want to be a jerk or anything. But when we're praising a white male, when we all know that he was the color of copper and had wool hair, that's one thing right there. The image of our creator has been changed to somebody else. But that's a whole other topic. But I think that really it comes down to defining what it is to be a man. I mean, and that is the hardest thing, I think, for a woman and a man to sit and talk about the role that we're going to play with each other. And I think a lot of times women have become the parent of this ancestral relationship with this man.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna raise you up. I'm gonna make sure that you do this and that, and I'll tell you about my problems, right? Your immediate thing is to try to solve it for me, which is usually what dudes do. So now I got a woman telling me this is what you need to try, but then when I tell her that people are treating me different than they treat you. But here's the thing that we forget, that Black men forget a lot of times. I'm gonna just say this: if you have forgotten the power of your genetic material, then you do not understand why people are trying to kill you. They're trying to kill you because you will change the world. Everybody have thick lips and broad noses. Yes, empathize with my experience. So it's not about you being less than and this and that, or everybody wanted to watch Apollo Creed get beat by Rocky. And there's a psychological thing behind that. So you got to know the one drop rule is really telling you that a little bit of you is awesome.
Before we leave the topic, I'm sorry, did you finish, Eric?
Bro, that's what you got to know. That's what I hit you with. That's it.
And Eric's not even in church, man, but he got a comment just now about he was preaching.
Before we leave the topic, though, your question was, why do I have to, someone has asked you, why did I have to pay for the last vacation? Why am I filling in the financial gaps? Why is it me who's shouldering is apparently more of the burden here in our relationship? I would suggest, without knowing any of the circumstances, make sure you know your spouse's story. Before you respond harshly or criticize him unnecessarily. Like my man E said, who are you married to? Is this dude a man? Seriously, is he busting his ass trying to do all of the things you want him to do?
Right.
Just a product of your circumstances. Because it's legitimate. Those obstacles are legitimate. The playing field is not even. The playing field is tilted. Even at my place of work, I still face microaggressions, macroaggressions. I still face racism. I still face entitlements and people who try to undermine me. I still, where I am now, I was delayed because the job was given to somebody who was not black. You know what I mean? And unqualified, highly unqualified. So unqualified that the people, when this young lady got the job that I was looking for, people were surprised that she got the job rather than me. Nevertheless, that's how, unweighted the scales are, or unbalanced, I should say. The scales are at what level the playing field is. So in answer to the young lady's question, I think she needs to, how's her brother's, how's my man's Madden game? Is he expert? Is he making money playing Madden? Or is he just expert on the couch with a blunt in his mouth? You know what I'm saying?
That's real talk.
You know what I mean? So
why does he get to be the authority, right? Right? You're right, Fred. Back to that original question. Playing Madden all day. Ain't applying for a job in months. Why does he get to be the authority?
She wants him to be. You got to know. She wants him to be that man. The crazy thing is she don't know what that man is either a lot of times. So that's the biggest challenge, Fred. And Jay, if you don't know what it is, and I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but I think that until you really know what it is to be a man, it's hard or have experience being with a man, then you don't understand what it is to create sanctuary for him, because it's both of those things are power. Both of those things are power.
Yeah. And it goes both ways, because there's a lot of brothers haven't had an example of what manhood really means, and it's not about gender, it's not about what's happening below your waist, and it's not about, how many muscles you got or what you bench.
But that's what it becomes, Fred. That's what's come. You think about what people talk about. Can he, my man is a real man. How's that? Because he'll go out there and get that money no matter what it is, or he'll lay that pipe, the weight, whatever. And all those things are performative, surfacey, and somewhat negative things. I told my wife one time when we were trying to figure it out, she was working at the university or getting her degree, and I was working on my master's or whatever. And I was like, if this stuff don't come through, I'll sell oranges. Like, I ain't tripping. I will sell oranges. I will make bean pies, whatever we got to do to make it happen. I'm down to make it happen.
Right.
And not from a, pat me on the back, like, way to go, honey, but more like, we will not just survive, we will thrive.
Right.
And I am putting it on my back to do that. But what I need you to do is I need you to put sanctuary on your back. Because if I'm out there doing that piece, and you're doing your piece too, but if I'm out selling oranges, I'm doing something that I do not want to do. Right? I need you to be there for me. I need you to be like, you know what? That's a problem.
Fred, we're gonna Fred and Eric, we're gonna there's another question that I want to ask. I want to get into it tonight because I feel like this is another heavy weighted question.
Oh boy.
No, I'm going to show it to you, and I want our audience to see this because this is where I want to pick up next week, because I want to bring a surprise in next week. I won't tell the audience what the surprise is, but here's the question though that I want to start with for next week. If he is chronically clueless about leading, is it my job to teach him? And I think that the two of you touched on this a little bit tonight. There's this learning curve, there's this growth. Is the responsibility, y'all hear me? Is the responsibility of him leading supposed to be from the one he's in relationship with? And then hey, hold on, here's the caveat. If she's the one teaching, then why isn't she the one leading?
Doesn't Drake have a song, and the lyric in his song is like, to all the chicks out there, wife and brothers? He's talking about Nikki and Meek Mill, like out there wifing them. I think that the other part to it, I think the beyond that question, I'm going to go ahead and go into that, is you got to ask yourself, why did you choose him? Or better yet, what do you get out of choosing that man? Because behind that, there's a private logic of I need to fix this person, or you told yourself I'll always have a lesser man, or I'm always going to raise somebody, or I'm always going to have to be the strong one, even though I know I'm pretending like he's strong.
Bro, I'm going to get a red flag, and every time somebody says something that goes back to, don't pick a stupid mind. I'm going to get a red flag, man. Why did I pick him?
No. Fred. No, wait a minute. It's not why. It's what do I get out of choosing him? The why elicits a surface answer. The what do I get out of it elicits something deeper, a deeper perspective.
What do I get out of it? I like it.
Yes.
Hey, we're going to dive into that. We're going to do just a strong hour today. We're about to wrap up. But next week, when we do get into, hold that, Murph, next week, what do I get out of this decision that I made? Because here's the other thing, Fred. There's a lot of folks who are listening who are already in relationships, and we're not trying to break them up. That's not our job. We don't want to break them up. I think that what I hear Murph talking about is those who are looking to get into relationships, or those who are in very, 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 very new relationships. Like, how am I benefiting from this? But then I think the two people who are in long-term relationships need to come together and ask the same question, right? How are we both benefiting?
Yes, bro. Right? I got one for you though. Here's what I say to somebody. I said this to the young lady today. I said, it's interesting that you've always been the little girl that's been scared to go out of the yard. In your mind, the world's an unsafe place. Where'd you learn that? You learned that from your mom and dad, or better yet, because you didn't have a father in your life, you learned that from your mom, that the world's an unsafe place. Men will treat you crazy. Here's what she has chosen. She is choosing a man who thinks that the world is an unsafe place too. So they're playing house in their little safe area because they do not want to experience reality.
Wow.
I will stay safe in my dysfunction. I will covet it. I will covet toxicity, and it will produce cortisol, and we will have a rich sex life. We will have you will be my blunt, and I will be your blunt, and we just be fake, because we will not have reality. We will be in our ego, and it will be our hurt child ego state.
Candace, thank you for mentioning that people have superficial reasons. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. People, and to Candace's point, I think people are in relationships for, as she mentioned, superficial reasons, but also people are in relationships because they want superficial outcomes, right? But like I'm in this relationship because what I want to be materialized from this relationship is a big house. I'm in this relationship because of what I want to be materialized from this relationship is a fancy car, right? Or the ability to swipe your card, man or woman, whenever I desire to swipe the card, right?
Speak on it.
for superficial outcomes. But at what point, Fred, do people get together and say it's not the superficial material things that I'm benefiting in this relationship? Because I'll tell you this, I can buy my own stuff. So my love language is not gifts, because I can buy my own things, right?
And that stuff comes and goes.
One of the reasons why people are getting into relationships beyond the superficial.
And that stuff comes and goes. What you get out of a relationship is still the result of a reason, right? It's always a why. Things happen for a reason. You know, if a tree falls in the woods, it doesn't just fall. It's largely sometimes because the wind, it rains, it undermines the ground, whatever. There are reasons. So people have are mining for superficial outcomes in relationships for reasons, because they haven't been shown relationships, or they didn't have parents in relationships that had real value other than just a roof over their head, picket fence, 2 cars in the driveway, whatever. They didn't have a mutually loving, beneficial relationship where there was give and take, there was a strong male presence, there was a strong feminine presence. And I don't mean someone who was just, yes, whatever you say, boss, type of a submission. I'm talking about a wife, a mother who had ideas, who would get in your ass, and who was supported by her husband. You know, a woman who would stand up for herself in the grocery store or in a shopping mall or whatever, and had her husband standing behind her saying, yeah, now what? Huh? You know, don't aggravate her because you got to deal with me next, that type of thing. I'm talking about seeing a father who showed a young daughter what it meant to love and respect a Black woman, you know, so that she knew what it meant when somebody said they loved her and I want to make you mine forever. Is that the guy? Are there red flags? Does he remind me of my father, you know, of my mother, who didn't put his hands on my mother except to caress her, to love her, to kiss her? You know what I mean? So the reason people look for superficial things is because they haven't been shown things any deeper than that.
Right.
Yeah, they haven't. It's popular, right? That's why I put this earlier. It's popular to be with somebody who can provide you with superficial things.
That's right.
You mentioned it earlier when you said, you said good leadership. What you say? Good leadership is invisible?
Yeah. You can get a lot accomplished when you don't look for credit, man. When you don't have to say, look what I did. If you're willing to let somebody else get the credit, imagine what could get accomplished.
Great relationships are invisible, right? Multi-billionaires, many of them are invisible. And you wonder why. The world is chasing after things that are mediocre and things that are superficial and things that are average. And they're counting those things as being popular, right? Bro, I think that I peaked in the sense of my life experiences. I've experienced so much already in my life that I don't feel the need to, well, let me try this. Let me try that. Let me try this. Now I'm at a place now where I'm like, I've tried so much already that the direction that I'm going in is unpopular, uncharted. I'm trying to get to experience some stuff that I don't hear about in the news. I don't see on social media, because all that stuff, to be honest, Fred and Murph, is average.
Let me give you an example of leadership that's flexible, leadership that doesn't need credit.
He's alpha, man.
You have a situation or an idea. You have something in your household that needs to get done. You have an issue, and you say, this is what we need to do, right? This is 6 in one hand. Right? You have an idea that's 6 in one hand, and your spouse comes up with a brilliant idea. At least they think so, and it's a half a dozen in the other hand, right? It's really neither here nor there. But what you have to do as leaders decide, does that accomplish what I need to get done, right? Without any unforeseen problems. Is it going to cost us anything that we're not seeing in advance? Because I've already fleshed this out. I already know what it is that we need to try to have done here. But if you come up, and the same thing at work, even if somebody comes up with another idea, it's just another way of doing things.
That's right.
As long as it doesn't cost us anything, you say, great idea. Let's do it your way.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I want us, three of us tonight, the six of us in totality. I want us to help show brothers there's another way.
Yeah.
Just like I mentioned that it took me this long. You know what I'm saying? I'm going on 40. It took me this long to figure out, I've experienced so much in life already. I don't have to have new experiences to understand life. I understand life. I understand the system that we're in. And I don't want to experience what everybody else is experiencing because it's so popular. But in my life, it's unpopular. Right. So I want us to show some brothers, man, that there's another way. We do this already in our mentorship. All of us are men of the same fraternity. You know, our fraternity, we push that. But I don't want to just experience it in that way, man. I want to experience it in ways where virtually our video is landing on somebody's, laptop in Scottsdale, Arizona, right? And then they're hitting us like, I didn't even consider that before. I grew up thinking that men had to dominate, but now that I realized, because Murph and Fred hit me with, be co-creators and co-designers of your relationship. That's what I'm on now. Like, I want to be that impactful, that influential, where we're hitting, people from all over the place.
That's right. But you say that, but people don't know the importance of cooperation and collaboration. People know the only C they know is competition. To be collaborative with your partner is to say that I have someone who's equally yoked. I believe my wife is dope. In addition to that, we are collaborators. I have never, it's funny. I remember when I dropped my job and was like, I'm going back to school, and I was making $12,000 a year, and she was making a grip more than me, like more than a grip. I mean, it don't take much to make more than $12,000. And I remember I never relinquished my role. There was never a time that I felt less of a man. If anything, me stopping the corporate position and going to get this paper to help me do something that I could be passionate about. If anything, I became more of a man. I became influential.
That's good, bro.
That's the game. You muted, Fred.
Fred, you muted.
I'm sorry. You still had purpose. You still had direction. You still were showing leadership qualities, right?
Okay.
That's what you need to have. It's more than just making paper, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just bringing the being the brawn in the family, right? It's somebody who has inner strength.
That's right.
Just physical strength.
Bro.
One day, bro, you don't know. Maybe you'll be leading from a wheelchair. You understand what I'm saying? You might be leading from a bed.
Right.
But it's your inner fortitude that could still sustain your family, could still make your kids want to please you. Your son could still reach great heights, in business and personally with his family, simply because of the impression and the leadership, the direction you're given, in spite of, say, some potential infirmity. Paralyzed from the neck down. In spite, I'm telling you, there are so many ways you can show fortitude and determination that are outside of just physical, earthly provisions.
Yeah.
Right? Understand? This is
hold that thought, Murph. Hold that thought, because we're gonna have to close. I'm about to give my daughter a bath. She be waiting. She be like, "Daddy, where you at?" Like, it's past the time, pops. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one of the things that I love about our brotherhood, man, and the stuff that we bring you on each and every week. We put family first. You hear Murph talk about his family often. You hear Fred talk about his family often, and I do the same, man. While we as men are doing this work here, we still place family as the number one priority. So y'all brothers who's listening right now and think that you got to put a couple of extra hours in the office because your job expects that out of you, and then you're taking away from a couple of hours at home, bruh, you in the wrong job. Email us, Fred, Murph, me, Lamar, Reggie, Cory. Email any of us. You want a job because you want to be in a space that allows you to put family as the number one priority? The six of us will help you find a job. But I tell you this right now, none of us work for anybody that makes us feel like family is number 2.
Yeah, that part. You know what I'm saying? I had to get my Tiffany Haddish in there because I think that if anything, I want to, I know you're ending, so I wanted to share this. I think what you need to do as a woman or a male is think what you want in a relationship. Think about it, and then think about how it feels, and then ask yourself, what resources do you have to perpetuate that, to make that happen? And ask yourself, what's in the way? How is my experience being nurtured? How is that contrary to what I want? And right there may give you the opportunity to see where there's some irrational beliefs, maybe a place for you to start working from. Because a lot of times people are afraid to fill their cup up with themselves and realize that once you fill that cup up with self, you realize there is no cup. And then I will attract someone who has a full cup who realizes there is no cup. And all we will have is us nurturing each other. That's the key. Be in the moment. Be willing to be vulnerable. Just be, man. Just be.
Yeah. That's good, man. We're going with that. Just be. Yo, y'all brothers, man. It's great seeing y'all. You know what I'm saying? Have a phenomenal week. Yo, show y'all's videos. We got some videos made. I don't know if the audience has seen them in social media. I know I posted one. But Fred, Murph, post y'all's videos. We're really trying to get people to start going to our YouTube channel and seeing some of the work that we're doing, some of the work that we've done. I've got our videographer going back to some of our old episodes and cleaning them up so that it's not an hour and 80 minutes of footage when we really just had like 45 solid minutes of like strong discussion. So he's going to clean that up here in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, y'all have a phenomenal week, man. I can't wait to do this with y'all again next week. Let me say this. I'm a better father, man, because of our conversation.
You better keep that series on Black Men Raising Daughters, because I saw the baby, man, on Instagram. She's big, fast. Telling you, you're gonna be close. You're gonna need the help, bro. She's gonna be in high school in a minute. Okay.
I help you out, Jay. I got you, brother.
I got y'all. I mean, all of y'all have daughters. And outside of Reggie, all of y'all have daughters. You know what I'm saying? And who are much older than mine. And so I'm leaning on y'all, man. I'm leaning on the tribe.
She looks so mature, man. She's growing so.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, so she is, man. I tell you, we had to, her mom and I took to her to get her shots today, 4-month vaccination shots, and I'm always hard with that, man, watching her cry because of medical induced pain, and so because of COVID, I sat in the car and her mom has texted me. I'm like, look, man, just hold her tight, let her know it's gonna be okay. I don't even want to FaceTime her right now. Like, just let her know it's gonna be okay. But when I came in to pick her up, man, after she had gotten the shots, she had tears in her eyes, but she looked at me with this look. You talk about maturity, Fred. She had this look in her eyes like, Daddy, I was strong. I might got these tears in my eyes, but I was strong. I know where I came from. I know what's in my. I know whose blood I have.
You know what that look was? She was probably thinking, "You big punk! You was out here crying worse than me."
Yeah, I was. I was in the car crying too. Her mom keeping it together. I'm in the car. Daddy in the car crying.
So respect on my name.
When he break down, let me just suck it up for. I don't want him to melt right here and just embarrass
myself. On my name.
Yeah. All right, brothers. Hey, man. Great seeing y'all. 06.
You too, man.
Hey, I'm gonna call you tomorrow about that thing we're gonna do.
Oh yeah, that sounds good, bro.
All right, Fred, 06, bro.
All right, 06.